come to veganism and a plant-based lifestyle?
Veganism is something that I was completely unfamiliar with growing up. I honestly didn't even know that the word vegan existed. I had no exposure to it whatsoever. Growing up, I got into fitness first. And then as a young adult, I got into the competitive side of things and decided to do a bodybuilding show. And that, it really made me understand and learn my body better to get it to do something that was extreme to the point of being somewhat unhealthy, but for the performance, for the competition. But it also taught me a lot about my body, and it let me be healthier over time. Anyway, someone very close to me had a heart attack, and I wanted to help them reverse their heart disease. And that's when I started to do my own research, and that's how I stumbled onto veganism. And it just made sense to me. And I figured I had to lead by example, and tested it out on myself, and my performance wasn't hurting. I felt just as healthy as if not healthier. And I felt it was an opportunity to show others a better way.
So you just said something that you hear a lot of vegans say, and you hear a lot of meat eaters say the opposite. You said, it just made sense to me. You were searching for an answer for your friend with your heart disease, but through that process, you came upon this and it made sense. What struck you as making sense? Like what just collected in your head and organized and said, I get this?
Well, it was from a health standpoint, it was pretty simple as far as what just made sense to me. Because at that point in time, I had never made like the full connection of veganism as a lifestyle. But from a health-based standpoint, I said to myself, well, if excess cholesterol in the body can clog your arteries and make it harder for your heart to work and eventually lead to heart disease to the point where like you have to constantly manage your system, maybe taking in less to no dietary cholesterol can help. And that was how it clicked for me.
And so you know that it was good for your health, but you were also passionate about bodybuilding. What did it do for your bodybuilding?
Well, the other way that I looked at things was anything that's plant-based. I mean, anything that's plant-based is where you're going to get most of your vitamins, your minerals, your antioxidants, your phytonutrients, your nutrition in. So I said to myself, if I'm getting in the same amount of protein, the same amount of carbohydrates, the same amount of fats that I would normally get in as an omnivore, as a meat eater, and if I just do that in a plant-based way, I'll probably be getting in more micronutrients as well. And I couldn't see that being a bad thing.
But it's harder to get in some micronutrients through plants because plants have a lot of density, but what am I saying? It's like if, for example, for fat, yeah, for fat and protein, you have to eat a lot of plants to match what your meat eating counterparts are doing, because they can just eat fewer and get many more fewer in
like
actual
volume of food.
Volume, thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Volume, and get far more calories, far more fat, far more protein. So what were you having to do? What were some of the things that you did to change your diet to get more of these nutrients in for bodybuilding?
So I think like anything else, we learn as we go. And in the beginning, it was definitely challenging. And I've been vegan for 15 years and information on the internet wasn't really a thing, right? But nowadays, thankfully, we have so many resources available. And what I've come to learn over time is that consuming a plant-based diet and being vegan gave me the chance to be creative and gave me the ability to eat a much wider variety of foods than I otherwise would have normally been exposed to. And, yes, you're right. Sometimes we do need to eat a greater volume of food, and that can be challenging because then our fiber can go through the roof and that can potentially cause digestive issues. And it's like, well, how much food can you fit in your stomach? And if you're a bodybuilder, the idea is to eat more to work on gaining muscle and strength. But you learn, what you do is you wind up learning what foods are more calorically dense and which foods are more voluminous. And because you've explored so many different food sources in the plant-based kingdom, you're able to get creative with it. So when you're on a diet, you can eat voluminous foods. When you're on a bulk, you can eat calorically dense foods.
I know that you and your team and a lot of your bros like Robert Cheek and Nimai Delgado, you guys go to, traditional fitness expos and do your vegan tent thing. What do people come up and ask you guys? Are most of the people completely shocked that you look the way you do and you're able to do what they can do on plants? Are they getting more used to you guys and they understand it better? Do you feel like you're changing hearts and minds? Like, talk to me about what that's like being in the middle of an expo of omnivores.
It's
I
an
know, but
adventure
also
for
not
sure.
just omnivores, but people who are
Yeah.
bodybuilders, who are really steeped in dairy and meat being the thing, whey protein, casein, meat. That's the thing that
Yeah,
makes them
no doubt.
strong.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree with you, Alexandra. There's definitely some foods that people just have that they have an emotional attachment to, just foods that they prefer to consume. And it's definitely been an adventure over the years. Now we've been going to these expos and events for over a decade. And if you asked me 10 years ago how people would react to us, it'd be far different than people react these days, because the information is out there and it just makes sense. So like 10 years ago, for example, we wouldn't even go to a mainstream fitness event. We would go to like a vegan event where family members would bring their veg curious brothers, sisters, friends, whatever. And they would come to the booth and they would start trolling us and be like, come on, this is a joke, right? And they would start, like attacking us, like even in our own community. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So then it was just like, all right, we're not ready to go out into the mainstream yet. We need to grow this community and put this information out there. Fast forward to today, and I think there's been a major shift over the past, I want to say 3 to 5 years. You go to a fit expo, and this is the first year that we've gone to mainstream fit expos, honestly. And we went to our first one in Philadelphia earlier this year, and we were like, all right, we're going to get these big meatheads, both enhanced and non-enhanced athletes that are just very into like the meat and potato bro culture, and they're going to harass us, or they're going to make fun of us, or honestly, I can't think of a single person that has come to the booth yet that has given us a hard time. So the mindset has definitely shifted. And nowadays, most people come to the booth and they're like, I should probably be doing more of this. And they're either not ready or they're ready, but they just don't know how to do it.
And what do you tell them when they want to know how to do it? How do you tell them to start? And by the way, you said enhanced and not enhanced. Does that mean that those who take steroids and those who don't?
Exactly. Like any competitive sport, you're going to have those that are enhanced and not.
That's a nice way to say it. In cycling, we just say dopers.
But in bodybuilding, I think there's some competitions where it's legal.
I know.
So thank you so much for tuning in today. If we helped you in any way, then click the subscribe button and let's keep hanging out together. We have so much more to share with you.
And if you need more information on actually making the switch for good, please visit us at switchforgood.org for loads of info. And you can subscribe to our mailing list where you will receive all sorts of super cool gifts, discount codes to our very fave dairy-free products, and a lifetime of powerful health tips.
So join us on the journey to switch for good. This is the future.